Hi students, welcome to E-Pathasala. I am Dr. Krishnaveni, working as the Associate Professor in Department of Fashion Technology, Kumaraguru College of Technology, Coimbatore. Today we will discuss about the particular topic about garment fit and assembly. The fitting is more important for every human being in every garment also. So the fit will give a maximum comfort to the particular person. It also gives the self-confidence, appearance, and also makes the greater look in the society. So normally the fitting of a garment is considered either in the seam line or it may be in the there is a grain line. So these are all the two ways you can correct the fit according to the style of garment or style of design. So the grain line mainly based on three category. One is the lengthwise grain line. Next one is you have crosswise grain line and bias grain. So the bias grain will give maximum fit comfort and also the good fit for a particular garment. So when you are going for constructing a garment, the grain line and also the particular category of ease line should be more important. So the amount of ease also will considered for good fit. So now we will see about the learning objectives of the particular topic. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand about the importance of garment fit and assembly on garments, then to know about the principles or standards of developing good fit of a garment. Next one is understand the outline of various steps involved in analyzing fitting problems with remedies. So the first we will say about the characteristics of well finished garments. Good fitting achieved by doing the work with care, patience and practice. A well-fitted garment feels comfortable, adjusts naturally to the activities of the wearer, is becoming in the line and amount of ease and consistent with the current fashion. So these are all the three factors are mainly considered for the well-fitting of any garments. Next we will see about reasons for poor fitting. So always we will go for construction of a garment, but in sometimes the fitting problems arise either in the seam line, that is in any seam line, either in the armhole or it may be a shoulder line or it may be a neckline or it may be a side seam line. So then we have to analyze what are all the reasons for poor fitting. There are different reasons maybe. When the garments are carelessly cut and if stitching is not done properly, then the garment will have poor fitting. This is the first reason behind the poor fitting problems. Second one is badly fitted undergarments such as knicker, then sari petticoats and petticoats after give the impression of a poor fit. Next, if the basic patterns are not of the right size or if they are not altered according to the body measurement, then poor fitting problems will occur. That is a poor posture also might be a reason for normal poor fitting. The differences in the bodice blocks also it has. Then such styles of a garment is not suitable for a wearer. The human body has numerous curves which has a different arm line and seam line also. So the basic ones are bust and end of shoulder, then shoulder blade, then elbow, then abdomen and then side seam and hip line. So the majority of the fitting problems arise in these areas. So because the more action will be there, then same way and also it has more comfortable features. The garment should be cut and stitched accurately to fit on the curves of the body. The straight material should be folded into darts or cut into seam to allow enough ease over the curves. So wide darts are stitched to control the excess material to give good fitting. Next we will see about major and minor factors affecting good fit. So the goal of any pattern alteration is to make the pattern fit better, but before you alter, you must decide what you mean by good fit. So in making the judgment of good fit, there are different factors are considered for factors affecting a good fit. There are two category of factors. One is called it as major factor, another one is called it as minor factors. So the major factors considered for affecting the good fit is one is appearance, second one is comfort, third one is design and then fourth one is fabric. So these four are more important major factors which affecting the good fit of any garment or any pattern or any style. So there are other minor factors also affecting the good fit. One is called it as the principles of grain. The second one is called it as character of the garment. Third one is personality and age. Then fourth factor will be figure type and defects. Then fifth type will be fashion and fabrics. So these are all the common factors which affect the good fit of any garment. Next we will see about the garment assembly. Actually the garment fitting and assembly are interrelated, because there is, when you are assembling a features in a particular order, then the garment should have a perfect fit, or otherwise it will have a poor fitting problems. So the garment assembly is more important for any construction of garment. So garment assembly is a fundamental to the creation of design. So this guide provides about the fashion students and designers with the knowledge of the techniques and components essential to the assembly of sewing products. So there are different standards are available for attaching the garment assemblies in a particular garment. So in majority of the garment assembly for the fashion industry develops your understanding of which stitch and which type of seams to be selected for the particular category of fabrics in the garments, as well as the knowledge to construct a range of basic techniques to assemble entire garments using the correct components. So in every garment it has so many number of components and so many number of features or designing of fashion. So it can be difficult to master the pattern or maybe attaching the components on the garment. So especially the skill is most important for assembling the components on the garments. For assembling, a visual demonstration of online videos showing the steps of garment assembly is main important. So the major factors garment assembly should be based on sewing darts, then sewing front edge fastenings, then inserting zip fastening, then attaching waistbands, assembling and attaching simple and complex pockets, then sleeve opening construction, assembling attaching cuffs, then assembling and attaching collars. So there are different category of features that is majorly affecting the poor fit. So when you are going for assembling of all these features, we should consider a correct good methodology you have to follow for garment making. Next one is we'll see about the importance of fit and garments. So why we have to go for fitting? That is, there are four different category of importance are major. One is call it as the first one, it is considered as comfort. Second one is it provides the self confidence. The third one is it give the appearance. Then fourth one is it has the that is a major economic status in the particular society. So for taking importance, that is of your body type, the fit is always a supreme importance. So some people think that if you are heavy, then you should just avoid tight clothing, but you also need to keep in mind that unnecessarily large clothing is unflattering. So for those of you that you are overweight or not particularly athletic, the fit of clothing is important so as not to make you appear heavier than you are. So if you are more average weight, you can use your clothing to make you appear slimmer, larger or stronger. So in all these cases, you want to avoid clothing that is too tight or too loose or too long or too short. So the proper fit enhances all body types and self-confidence. Next we will see about aspects of a good fit. So there are three category of aspects mainly for fit concern. One is the proximity of the garment to the body. Second one is the comfort of the garment. Third one is the placement of features such as seams and cuffs. So the next one is the different terminologies relating to the fit. Why we have to concentrate the fit for each garment, and then then what are all the related terms which can execute or maybe a important factor for fit. So the first one is call it as strain. The second factor is tightness. Third one is looseness. Then fourth one is gapping. So these are all the four different terms it is relating to the fit, especially for the garments. The strain is nothing but it is characterized by slight folds that begin and end within the garment's outline, such as those created by pulling a fabric taut from two opposite ends. Then next one is tightness factor. This is characterized by a garment that fits too closely to the figure Tightness results from using insufficient fabric in one part of the garment, or it may be a whole garment. Next, third factor will be looseness. It is characterized by a garment that fits too loosely around the figure, causing the shoulder lines of the garment, or maybe the category of looseness in the form of either in the around the bust line or waistline, or it may be a hip line. Next one is, it can be a gapping. So the gapping factor is characterized by misplaced excess around the neckline or armhole, causing looseness. Gapping can be identified by its cone-like shapes, or maybe a structure, or it may be a mannequin model we can analyze with the gapping. Next, we'll see about the good fit. Then how will you achieve a good fit of any garment? There are different steps will be followed. A garment that fits well will hang from the shoulder to the hemline without the appearance of strain, tightness, gapping or looseness factors. The sleeve also will be in a perfect alignment with the arm, that is more important. The garment will appear neither too short nor too long from neckline to waistline and front waistline to hemline. So this is also, it shows a good fit. Then it will appear neither too tight nor too loose for comfort properties. The hemline and horizontal balance lines will be parallel with the floor. So this is the standard procedure you have to follow when you are constructing a garment. Then next one is, the figure need to be perfectly symmetrical. The proportions and stance may be either less than ideal, or but the garment will still align properly when well fitted. Next, we will see about the factors for a poor fit. The garment with a poor fit is caused by the curves of the body displacing the natural hang of the garment. So when you are wearing a garment, sometimes the exact lines of the garment should not match with the body line. So then the fitting problem will arise. So it is called as poor fit garments. Fitting problems occur when the pattern shapes do not conform the body's dimensions or symmetry, or stance. Next, we will see about standards for good fit. So this is more important for rectifying the fitting problems and also giving the remedy to the particular garment. So when you are taking the construction of any garment, that is in any area or in any particular process, the fitting problem may arise, or maybe a problem will cause. So these standards will help to rectify the faults and also to get a good fit. So the major 5 standards are more important for every garment construction. The 5 factors present in every fitting decides whether a garment fits well or not. These are there are different categories. One is ease, line, grain, set, and balance. These 5 factors are also interrelated. So these 5 standards are normally applied for any fitting problems arised in the garment, and also will get a remedy. First, we will see about ease. So what is meant by ease? Ease is the difference between the circumference measurements of the figure and of the garment. So the amount of ease should be sufficient for comfort in keeping with the fashion, the style and type of garment and fabric used. So there are 2 factors are normally used for garment construction. One is seam allowance, another one is ease allowance. The seam allowance is mainly for freedom of movement, and ease allowance is mainly for comfort. Next one is, very loose garments look clumsy. Insufficient ease in a garment is indicated by a tight or horizontal creases. So wherever it is, the creases will occur. So we have to check the grain, whether it is in a lengthwise grain or maybe in a crosswise grain. So when you are considering the fitting problems, that is, the standard ease allowances are already existed in the standard procedure. So the common ease allowances are: back shoulder seam eased onto front about ½ inch, then ease around bust line about 4 inch, then ease across ½ inch to 3/4 inch, then ease allowance across the chest measurement is 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch, then ease allowance is through hip and standing for that is 1½ inches. Then ease of skirt at waistline to fit onto the belt or fit onto the curve of waistline, that is 1 inch. Next one, that is the ease of back of sleeve cap, that is 2 to 3 inches extra you can add it. Then for elbow also you can add 1 inch. So these are all the standard ease allowances when you have to take it as a consideration for constructing a garment. Next, second factor will be line. So line refers to many aspects of fitting the silhouette of the garment, the proportion of the garment to the figure and various parts of the garment to each other, the shape of curved lines and the placing of the details of the design. When fitting for line, study the general appearance of entire garment, taking particular note to the silhouette and proportion obviously. Silhouette varies according to fashion, but good line is not determined by fashion and the rules apply consistently. The correct proportion can only be found when actually fitting the garment on the figure, as it is depend on the individual figure or current fashion. Good proportion ascends the attractive points of the figure. So the line is more important when you are setting the grind line, whether it is in lengthwise or crosswise or bias angle. Based on that only we have to get the fit of the garment. The third factor will be set. Set refers to the way in which the fabric fits to the contours of the figure. The fabric should perfectly smooth and free creases in all areas. In common with balance, the set will be correct when the grain is incorrectly positioned, but as set is such many people prefer to fit by observing and eliminating any creases rather than by correcting the position of the grain. A well-fitted garment has a smooth set with any wrinkles. The slanting wrinkles are caused by the garment being strained over some curves or bulges of the body. The wrinkles point towards the shoulder blade is caused by protruding shoulders. To remove them, extra length width should be provided for the garment. The smoothness of set or freedom from wrinkles is required for a good looking fit. Graceful folds created by gathers or unpressed pleats or draped features or style lines, not to be confused with wrinkles. Those slanting triangles slanting from some curved or bulge of the body. Next factor will be the balance. The balance is the relationship between the garment and the figure and between various parts of the garment. So the balance is correct when the garment hangs equally either sides of the figure at all points when viewed from the front, back or side and with the vertical seams perpendicular to the ground, or maybe a floor form. The garment should look balanced from left to right and front to back of the floor. The skirt should hang so that it is extend the same distance from the center to the right and left sides. The neckline should fit neck snugly at all points. So it connects the shoulder, armhole and also it has the center front line. Next one is we'll see about the last factor is grain. So this is more important factor for any construction. The placement of warp and weft yarns that is a form a grain. It denotes the direction of threads. Usually the lengthwise or warp threads are heavier than the crosswise or filling threads. Heavier threads tend to drape well on the figure with graceful folds when gathers, pleats and ruffles occur on the straight grain. Lengthwise grain should be perpendicular at the floor, at the center front and center back unless off-grain seams are present. The crosswise yarns are parallel to the floor at center front and center back. Threads are yarns. The units that make a cloth are called the grain. So be careful to say that crosswise grain and the lengthwise grain is for clearness. So there are three different category of lines. One is grains, one is lengthwise grain and second one is that is a crosswise grain. Third one is called it as bias grain. So the bias grain represents about the 45-degree angle of the particular pattern. So when you are going for graceful folds, the gathers, pleats, ruffles, skirts occur if they follow heavy threads. So in the standard of basic pattern at center front and back at both bust and hip line, so the lengthwise grain is perpendicular to the floor and the crosswise grain is horizontal or parallel with the floor from the grain on the right half of the garment should match that on the left half of the that is except any asymmetrical designs as in a side draped skirt. These factors which determine whether a garment has a good fit or not are in a ease, line, grain, set and balance. So these 5 factors are most important for any garment construction and for good fit and also rectifying the problems for fit. So they are also referred to as the standards for a good fit, and they are also interrelated to each one another. Next we will see about the preparation of garment for fitting. All facings should be in position except those at hem of a jacket or a sleeve, or maybe it may be a knicker pattern. Seams which are unlikely to need any adjustment, such as those in a pleated or maybe a gathered skirt, may be stitched. Center front and center back seams may also be stitched if they are on the straight center seams as a that is a shaped center of seams. Tack all the other dots and seams in a particular manner. Tack the hem as it enables the proportion of the garment to be judged for fitting. Don't attach the collar or sleeve, as the neckline and armholes must be perfectly set before these are attached. Tack the waistband onto a skirt or trouser. Next, we will see about the method of checking the fit of a garment. The garment should be tacked without sleeves, collars and facings. The openings are pinned together accurately, properly and securely. The basting line, that is normally for casting line that marks center front and back, helps in to give a good fit. The garment should be worn right side out to check the fitting on the body. The garment is thoroughly inspected and carefully analyzed for fitting. The fitting should take care of the major alterations in the bodice. The left and right side pattern should be the same. The paper pattern should also be altered on the basic changes made in the pattern. In the second round of checking the fitting, concentration must be on the sleeve part and armscye part. So this is the smaller line which can be intricate to the particular garment. So there are 3 lines you have to consider more. One is a shoulder line, another one is neckline, another one is you have a armhole line. So these particular lines should exactly fit onto the particular garment or particular the body structure. Then it will get a good fit. The patterns which are altered for good fitting should be preserved. Constantly compare the drafted pattern with the body measurement for accurate fitting before cutting any garment, as there may be any changes in the body's measurement. The dress should look nice from the back as it is from the front. The back should be more carefully fitted since there is a strain. The dress with the back too wide, too narrow, too short can be uncomfortable and also sometimes unbecoming. So we have to go for the narrower and also a wider pattern depending on the garment requirement. Next we will see about there are different varieties of fitting problems commonly arised in the garment. So normally the garment is classified into there are 2 category. One is the top garment, another one is the bottom garment. The top garment consists of bodice. The bottom garment consists of either it is a skirt pattern or it may be a pant pattern. So normally the fitting problems are commonly arised in the top garment, that is on the bodice. There are different fitting problems normally arise. The first one is that is the persons having different body structure, then the same way different style variation and also the different design, the fitting problems will arise. So on the bodice there are various number of fitting problems. That is, one is broad shoulder, then you have narrow shoulder, then square shoulders, then sloping shoulders. So these are the fitting problems mainly based on the type of persons. Next one is we have a gapping armhole, then gapping neckline, then small neckline, then a deep or armhole. This is also mainly based on the shape of the structure or shape of the body form. Next one is we will see about the adjustment lines, that is small bust, then large bust, then underarm dart, then the same way you have a long back balance. So this is mainly based on the back pattern problems. So especially for the persons who's having the abdominal that is a high abdomen or high maybe hip line. Then after that it has a short balance, then waist shaping, then crease that is a below collar. So this is also mainly considered for the person who's having a long length of neckline and then a short length of neckline. So these are all the common fitting problems arised in the bodice. Next one is solving fitting problems. So after arising the fit, how will you, what are all the different methods for using to solve the the fitting problems on any garment? Each garment should be checked for ease, comfort, line, grain, set, balance. So these are all the standards commonly checked by all the garments. If wrinkles or diagonal folds are observed, then the stitching should be released at the bulge areas. Then it is easier to correct the neckline than to correct the sleeve and armhole. So whichever area is more, it is a straight line area, so that you have to correct it than the curved line areas. The material from the seam allowances can be used to increase or decrease the fullness at the bust line. While cutting, the pattern should be placed parallel to the selvage so that the length of the garment will be long the selvage. So when you are cutting the fabric based on the selvage, the garment that is a well fit or maybe hang well on the body structure. While stitching, the armhole and neckline should be taken care of when you are construction of garment. To get a good fitting in the garment, it is better to keep 2.5 cm to 3 cm extra material at the back and shoulder seam and underarm and side seam, that is for extra allowances. Fullness should be evenly distributed without irregular or puckering pleats puckering pleats. Facings, hems should be finished smoothly. To neaten the seam edges, ironing should be done after every shape. The garment should not be too tight as the figure defects will be more noticeable. To get good fitting in a garment, accurate measurement should be taken and patterns also drafted on good manner. There are some fitting examples are normally arised in arised in any garment. One is the fitting problem. It is called as hollow back. So this is a specific problem for the persons who's having, that is normally this is a bulgier person or it may be a shorter person. The skirt has a horizontal fold just below the waist, which is caused by the waistline being inefficiently hollowed. This is the problem normally arised in the skirt. When you are going for giving the solution for the fitting remedy, pin the fold at the center back, tapering to nothing at the sides. Lower, and then next point, lower the center back waistline of the pattern by the width of the fold and curve to the original side waist. This fault may also be found at the front of a skirt, and the same method would cost to alter the front pattern also. The other second major fitting problem arising in the common people are narrow shoulder. The garment is too wide on the shoulders and the front width line and appears to be slipping off the figure. The remedy for a fitting problem is re-measure the figure and the measurements, mark the correct shoulder length and front width on the front pattern. Next, draw the new armhole curve. So either it is a deepening of the armhole or maybe a curving of the armhole. For this purpose, that is, it is assumed that the back width is correct, although the back shoulder length will have a problem. So the simplest method of reducing the back shoulder length is to make a shoulder dart of the required width or widen the existing dart. These are all the two way you can give a suggestion for the particular remedy. In this way, the curve of the armhole remains unchanged. The third common problem is square shoulder. This figure causes creases to form between the neckline and shoulder points. The neckline may also appear in loose. So the grain on the front width line is raised at each end. So this is the common problem for the square shoulder persons. So the remedy for the particular problem is clip the tacking stitches along the shoulder seam towards the neck point and let out the seam until the creases disappear. Next point, that is the raise the shoulder section the necessary amount and raise the base of armhole by the same amount of correct size and of the armhole. Sometimes it is also necessary to make the shoulder line wider for this type of figure or the crown of the sleeve deeper. let us summarize about this particular topic, that is garment fit and assembly. So the garment fit and assembly are interrelated factors. So when you are assembling the garment features in a particular manner, then only you will get a good fit. So when you are assembling the garment components, either maybe a sleeve or collar, it may be in a pocket, or it may be a yoke, or it may be in other category of components, in a standard manner, in such a way that we will get a good fit. So the fitting is mainly assessed based on the standards. There are five standards are available. One is ease, line, grain, set and balance. So these 5 factors are commonly assessed on each and every pattern and will get a good fit of pattern.